boys and girls. Another day and another story with Shosh. Today I have a very beautiful story to share with you, and it's based on a true event. It's based on a true person, so I look forward to sharing it with you. Before we get started though, this story comes from Kenya, where our heart is because of Just One Africa, where we serve the people often and with our hearts. Today the story is based on an event that happened in America back in 2011. Many of you were way too little or maybe not even born yet before this event happened, but it was a tragic event that happened in New York City, and it caused the death of many, many people. This book was cultivated out of that event that impacted this young Kenyan man desperately deep. Before we get started though, I want to show you some words that we're going to find in this story. Maasai. Maasai is a tribe of people that live both in Kenya and in Tanzania, and they're a very special group of people. They're called pastoral people, and that means that they have animals that graze out in the pastures. Warrior. Now, oftentimes we think of a warrior as someone that goes out and fights. Well, that may be partly true. It's someone that fortifies themselves and strengthens themselves to fight a battle. But it doesn't always mean a battle of hands and weapons. It could mean a battle of the heart. And this particular story is a warrior that battled with his heart. Another word is diplomat. A diplomat is someone that represents their country in a foreign country, and they do business with that country. They negotiate and they work with that country between their country and the one that they're living in and representing. Nomadic. The Maasai people are considered nomadic people, and they aren't the only nomadic people in the world. There are a lot of nomadic people around the world. Nomadic means that they move. They don't stay fixed in one place. They take their animals and move around because they can't all graze in the same place all the time. So they are nomadic because they move with their animals. But now, not like past years where many, many years ago they used to move their whole family and their whole village and was nomadic. Now they do live in a fixed village, but they're nomadic with their animals. Elders. Elders are the older people in their group set. These are the people who are considered to have wisdom, and they look to those people for decision making. Our story today is called 14 Cows for America, and it came out of a collaboration with Wilson Kimeli Naiyomah. It was written by Carmen Agra Deedy, and it was illustrated by Thomas Gonzalez. And you're going to love these pictures. The publisher is Peachtree, and we are very grateful to them for allowing us to have this book to share with you today. So are you ready to get started? At the end of the story, I want to share with you about Wilson and who he really is. Look at this magnificent sunset. And this is the way it does really look in Kenya. You do see these beautiful, vibrant colors. 14 Cows for America. The remote village waits for a story to be told. News travels slowly to this corner of Kenya. As Kimeli nears his village, he watches a herd of bull giraffes cross the open grassland. He smiles. He has been away a long time. And there you can see his feet. But do those look like feet of probably a Maasai? No, it looks like somebody that was living in America and dressed like that. A girl sitting under a guava tree sees him first and cries out to the others. The children run with the speed and grace of cheetahs. He greets them with a gentle touch on the head, a warrior's blessing. He is a warrior, but he's not a warrior that fights with his hands because he has a very tender heart. The rest of the tribe soon surround Kimeli. These are his people. These are Maasai. Once they were feared warriors. Now they live peaceably as nomadic cattle herders. They treat their cows as kindly as they do their children. They sing to them. They give them names. They shelter the young ones in their homes. Without the herd, the tribe might starve. To the Maasai, the cows is life. And that's something very important to remember in this story, that the cow is life to the Maasai, because that's going to stand out in the story later. Supa! Hello! Kimeli hears again and again. Everyone wants to greet him. His eyes find his mother across the Enkang, the ring of huts with their roofs. Akua! Welcome, my son! Kimeli sighs. He's home. This is sweeter and sadder because he cannot stay. He must return to the faraway country where he's learning to be a doctor. He thinks of New York City. He remembers September. A child asks if he brought any stories. Kimeli nods. He has brought with him one story. It has burned a hole in his heart. But first, he must speak to the elders. Remember, the elders are the older men in their tribe. Later in tradition as old as the Maasai, the rest of the tribe gathers under an acacia tree to hear the story. There is terrible stillness in the air as the tale unfolds. With growing disbelief, men, women, and children listen. Buildings so tall they can touch the sky? Fires so hot they can melt iron? Smoke and dust so thick they can blot out the sun? The story ends. More than 3,000 souls are lost. A great silence falls over the Maasai. Kimeli waits. He knows his people. They are fierce when provoked, but easily moved to kindness when they hear of suffering or injustice. At last, an elder speaks. He is shaken, but above all, he is sad. What can we do for these poor people? Nearby, a cow lows, meaning it made a sound. Heads turn toward the herd. To the Maasai, Kimeli says softly, the cow is life. Turning to the elders, Kimeli offers his only cow, Enkarus. He asks for their blessing. They give it gladly, but they want to offer something more. The tribe sends word to the United States Embassy in Nairobi. In response, the embassy sends a diplomat. His jeep jounces along the dusty, rugged roads. He is hot and tired. He thinks he's going to meet with Maasai elders. He cannot be more than wrong. As the jeep nears the edge of the village, the man sits up. Clearly, this is no ordinary diplomatic visit. This is, get this, boys and girls, a ceremony. Hundreds of Maasai greet the American in full tribal splendor. At the signal of the brilliant blood-red tunics and spectacular beaded collars, he can only marvel. It is a day of sacred ritual. Young warriors dance, leaping into the air like fish from a stream. Women sing mournful songs. Children fill their bellies with milk. Speeches are exchanged, and now it is time. Kimeli and his people gather on a sacred knoll far from the village. The only sound is the gentle chiming of cowbells. The elders chant a blessing in Ma as the Maasai people of Kenya present 14 cows for America. Because there is no nation so powerful it cannot be wounded, nor a people so small they cannot offer mighty comfort. Wasn't that a beautiful story? A group of people who live on a much lower financial level than we do, but their hearts went out to the story that Kimeli shared with them. When Kimeli grew up in Kenya, his tribe recognized that he was a very tender-hearted young man, and that he would not be a strong fighting warrior like many of the other men chose to be, but he would have a heart to battle with his heart. Remember I said that cows was life to the Maasai people? Well, Kimeli wanted a cow, but he couldn't afford it because it was just him and his mother. So that was his dream. He wanted to be able to save up someday to own his own cow. Now, he knew that because of the significance of the cow, that was what he wanted to sacrifice as a blessing to America because of the tragic thing that happened. But not only did it move on his heart, but it moved on the heart of his whole tribe, so that they offered up not only one cow, which was Kimeli's, but they offered up 13 more cows that totaled up to 14 cows. Those 14 cows continue to live in Kenya. They have now birthed many other babies, and they now number into the 30s. I think it was 35. But those cows are left there as a remembrance to a group of people that wanted to offer back something to America, who was so sad at the time and so mournful because of the people that died here. That was their way of supporting America and saying, we care. And those cows today remain in Kenya, and they are taken care of, and they will always remain in that place, taken care of by this tribe of Maasai people. You know, there's a lot that we all can do in our very small ways to support and help other people. Just One Africa does that by raising funds to take water filters so that people don't have to be sick and die. This young man had his way of serving. You can have your way of serving and make a difference as well. I hope that you talk it over with your mom and dad and say, what can I do to make a difference? Even though you're young, you can make a difference. Check back with us again and get some more stories. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.
The cow is a very important animal to my family and to myself. When we slaughter cows back at home, we get meat to feed my family, and also we also get milk, normally from cows at home. I've been rearing cows for around 30 years, and in those 30 years, I've been able to sell cows, and whenever I sell my cows, I get money to buy food for my family, to educate them, and also to provide for some of the other needs. Sometimes we're able to buy other kinds of food that might not be easily available in our area when we come over into this town. So a cow is a very important animal to me, and even to the family that we have been able to keep cows, and it provides us also with wealth. The more cows you have, the more wealthy you are in my community. So a cow is a very important animal to me and my family. Thank you. The importance of cows in the Maasai culture can never be overemphasized. The cow is a very sacred animal to the Maasai, and as you can see today, people have come here to congregate in this market to buy and sell cows as a way that they can be able to trade in the cows. The Maasai believe that the cows came with them from heaven. Being one of them, this is a very important animal that everybody treasures in this culture. People will come to this market to buy and sell cows. When people buy them, maybe they go and fatten them, and they're able to get better breeds from their cows. The money that people get from selling them, they're able to buy food, sometimes to take care of very other expenses, such as school fees for their children, and any other bills that people incur in their lives. Cows are also kept as a main economic activity by the Maasai, because they look at it as a business activity. If you look at the cows today here in the market, this is a good time for the cows, for one to bring cows, because they are still very, they have a lot of weight on them, they look very good, and they fetch very good price. An average mid-sized cow right now will cost around $500 and upwards. And so people who are in business, they'll come and sell their cows around this time, because when the drought comes, the prices many times drop to around maybe $100, $200, sometimes even less. Back in the year 2009, there was a time that one cow was sold for barely $5. So this is a good time for those who are in business of the cows to sell their cows. Cows also, a cow on its own has various uses also within the tradition of the Maasai. Some of the parts of the cows are used for cultural events. A good example, when people slaughter a cow is usually slaughtered during when people have a very big celebration, various passage from manhood, from different age groups, from one age group to the other. And you find they will have a big congregation where people will come from different areas. These are the only times maybe most people will slaughter their cows. So they use them for food during these ceremonies. But also parts of the cows are used for different purposes. Like the flesh is usually used for meat. The skin for making ceremonial regalias. Sometimes you find the tails are used for fly whisk. The head of a cows are to make soup. People also use cows to pay dowries and also restitutions and debts and all that. And also maybe as a source of wealth. The more cows you have in this culture, the more money you are perceived to be having. So cows are very important in this culture. Thank you very much.